Bill went to college after he got out of high school. He wanted to be a coach. So he came here to K-State, and he was going to work for to go to college, because we didn't at that time think we could afford to college. Okay, but anyway, he worked at the dairy barn where they had 100 cows to milk. He knew the whole procedure for that, so he worked there. But he had to get up at 4 in the morning, and he couldn't have hardly time to study, and because he said the guys all come a-flocking in the evening to visit with he and his buddy that was going to school. They both were from Waterville. So, okay, at Christmas time, he decided, I want to go to college, but I don't believe I'm going to take and stay with it. If you'll, the Christmas present I want you to sign that I can go to college, or to the service. Said, I don't want to be in the Army, I want to be in the Navy. He ended up in Hawaii, and he worked, he was in a big hospital. He was there in New York in a hospital before they sent him there. And so he worked in the hospital, and then as time went on, why, he was getting a lot of, so he could fill prescriptions, and he was getting quite a bit of training. But his 3 years were up, and so he was planning, he wrote back to college, could he come back and go in where he left off? And they wrote him a letter, they'd be glad for him to. So he was coming home then to go to college. When the Navy stepped in, they took 3 officers and him, took a cruise over all the countries and in an airplane. He laughed, he said, I was in the Navy all that while and never got in a boat. They'd probably shot him if he'd have said boat. So the thing of it was, in the meantime, Larry had already gotten in the Navy, and so they met in Hawaii, and the Navy let him and Larry have 2 weeks together. And they got to, and he had bought a little car, and it was the Metropolitan foreign. We could park it on our front porch, it was so small. They had a wonderful time for those 2 weeks. And so after he then was going to come back, by then they gave him this trip then with these officers, and they told him that if you will re-up into the Navy, we'll give you, you can go back to the States, to Maine, and you would be studying like for doctoring, but you'd be for pharmacy, and you'll get a doctor's degree, and you can get that from the Navy and it won't cost you anything. He was on his way to Maine when he came, he got to come home. They shipped his car then to back to the States for him, and so he was on his road to Maine, but came by here at Manhattan. We were here, and so he then, Richard, of course, idolized him, because Richard was at the same, well, he was 10 years younger, and but he was about 15 when this happened, and Bill was 22, and when the accident happened. Well, anyway, that happened between here and Waterville, and it so happened that Billy didn't make it, and but Richard did, and I was alone. Bud was working on Tuttle Creek, so I was all alone, and I always, when the boys were going out for an evening, I would always fix good things that they liked and have it on table for them when they get home. And so it was late, and the phone rang, and I thought they should be here pretty soon, and it was a hospital in Marysville, and he said, do you have 2 sons? And I said, yes, sir, I do, but where are they? Well, they're here in the hospital. And I said, well, the oldest boy is in the Navy, and he told me if anything ever happened to him, for them to put him in the Army hospital down here. And he said, ma'am, we can't move either one. And so here it's midnight. Bud's working up there at the dam. So I got in the car and drove up there to one of the officers there, the group, or whatever he's called. He went out and they found Bud on the machine he was running and brought him back. But they also at the same time filled my car with gas, because I would have never made it up there. And we got up there, and Billy didn't last very long. He was on oxygen, and but Richard didn't regain conscious till, well, it would have been 3 or 4 days before he, they said they didn't feel he was going to make it.